Beneath the calm surface of Iron Valley, something extraordinary is unfolding. For months, the region's farmland has shown signs of an unseen force reshaping the land. Soil shifted overnight, crops disturbed, and patterns too precise to be coincidence. What began as a simple ecological study soon revealed a hidden system of movement deep within the wilderness. In this investigation, we follow the evidence to uncover how nature itself is adapting, reorganizing, and reclaiming balance in ways we've never documented before. The valley slept under a restless sky, where low clouds moved like waves and the air hummed with quiet tension. For weeks, something had been disturbing the farmlands near the river. Fences bent, soil churned, crops ripped open in long, uneven trails. At first, the signs looked random, but a closer look revealed deliberate movement, as if something powerful had been working in patterns through the night. Today, we set out to uncover what was truly hiding beneath the surface. Before we roll deeper into this story, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and drop a like if you enjoy these deep dive adventures. It really helps the journey continue. The road toward Iron Valley was rough and silent. Mist clung to the branches, forming pale ribbons in the cold morning air. The team kept quiet, scanning for movement on both sides of the narrow dirt path. Our gear was simple: motion trackers, a set of field drones, and remote mics to pick up sound frequencies beyond human range. What we didn't expect was how alive the forest felt that morning. Every small sound seemed amplified: the creak of the trees, the shifting gravel, the whisper of the wind pushing through tall grass. When the first tracker pinned, the signal was faint but consistent. Something heavy had crossed the north ridge before dawn. Weight displacement showed it was large, possibly several hundred pounds. We followed the signal uphill, through damp ferns and low fog. Then came the scent, earthy, metallic, and sharp. The kind of smell that tells you you're not alone. I motioned for the team to stop. Our lead drone hovered silently ahead, infrared camera cutting through the mist. Through the lens, we saw movement, a cluster of dark shapes near the clearing. They weren't animals grazing. They were digging, pushing soil, circling something buried beneath. The footage looked unreal. We had come expecting wildlife, but this was coordination. We positioned 2 sensors at the clearing's edge and waited. Hours passed. Nothing moved except the fog thickening across the ground. Then, just before noon, the signal spiked again. A shape appeared, enormous, slow, deliberate. Its movement pushed air through the reeds like a small windstorm. Whatever it wasn't alone. Our drone captured faint sounds, deep snorts, rhythmic thuds, like a group pacing in unison. It was then we realized these were not random intruders. They were reclaiming territory that once belonged to them. The valley was old farmland built over what used to be dense wetland. Generations ago, the marshlands were drained, leaving behind thick, nutrient-rich soil. For decades, that worked, until the ecosystem started fighting back. The wild herds had adapted, growing larger, faster, and far more territorial. By late afternoon, we spotted the first trail of freshly dug soil. Deep gouges wide enough to fit a grown person's boot. We followed it carefully, marking every sign. The forest grew darker as the sun lowered, and visibility dropped fast. That's when a sudden gust rustled through the trees, followed by heavy movement just ahead. The moment our light beams crossed the clearing, a massive shape darted between the trees. We froze. The trackers pulsed rapidly. The camera caught only a flash, a dark blur of muscle and motion. It disappeared into the brush before we could focus. The entire forest went quiet, the kind of silence that makes your heartbeat sound too loud. We decided to hold our position and observe. The night air cooled sharply. Drones circled overhead, and one of them caught something astonishing: a series of circular mounds across the ridge, forming a spiral pattern visible only from above. It wasn't random movement. It was systematic, territorial, almost intelligent. Halfway through the night, we detected heat signatures again, smaller this time, scattered, moving independently. Possibly younger members of the herd. We adjusted our gear for thermal clarity and set up automated recording systems to track without disturbance. What happened next, none of us expected. The ground began to tremble lightly, as if something enormous was moving underground. Then, through the trees, the main herd emerged, slow, deliberate, and silent. No panic, no chaos, just quiet dominance. The largest among them, easily twice the mass of the rest, stood still for nearly a full minute, facing our direction as if aware of our observation. It was a surreal moment, a meeting between two worlds that weren't supposed to intersect. If you've been enjoying this deep exploration, take a second to subscribe and share it. Every bit of support helps us bring you more of these unseen stories from the edge of the wild. At dawn, the forest returned to silence. The herd had vanished, leaving only deep trails and fragments of disturbed earth. We collected samples from the area, soil compressed by immense pressure, traces of fur, and markings shaped like half-moons. Scientists would later confirm that the creatures had been adapting faster than anyone imagined. With new feeding habits and nocturnal strategies, they were practically re-engineering the ecosystem. We revisited the site 2 days later. All signs of movement were gone. Even the air felt different, lighter, quieter, but charged. Nature has a way of balancing itself, but this wasn't balance. This was evolution happening right in front of us. The creatures were no longer just surviving. They were reclaiming dominance in the spaces humans thought were theirs. In the following weeks, similar activity was reported across neighboring valleys. Each time, the pattern was the same. Coordinated digging, crop loss, nighttime noise, vanishing trails by sunrise. It became clear that this was not an isolated event, but part of a much larger ecological resurgence. We compiled the data into a field log, heat maps, timestamps, migration lines. The conclusion was undeniable. They weren't retreating. They were spreading. The Iron Valley wasn't an anomaly. It was the starting point. Standing at the ridge weeks later, I looked across the endless stretch of green where it all began. The morning light revealed faint paths curling like veins through the landscape. To anyone else, it might look like random erosion. But I knew better. That was the mark of movement. Intelligent, deliberate, ancient. The cameras continued rolling as the wind picked up again, and I couldn't help but feel that what we witnessed wasn't an end, but a warning. When nature decides to shift, it doesn't ask permission. It simply takes back what's hers. Thanks for staying with me through this journey into the unseen corners of the wilderness. If you'd like to see where we head next, from the frozen plains of the north to the sunken wetlands where light barely reaches, make sure you're subscribed. Leave a comment and share this story with someone who loves discovering the unknown. Your support keeps these expeditions alive. And as we packed up our gear one final time, I glanced back at the quiet field. The wind moved through the grass, carrying faint echoes of the night before, a reminder that even in silence, something powerful is always waiting beneath the surface.